Mm, Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Alisha and I am really excited to talk to you about how to move through anxiety. And I deal with anxiety coming up every day. So it's something that I've spent a lot of time thinking about, journaling about, trying to feel my way through. And so I'm just very excited to share with you what has worked for me and how I kind of frame it and move through it and find meaning even while I have anxiety. But first, I'm going to share with you a very brief story of what just happened to me. So I was walking back from the coffee shop where I was journaling this morning, which, by the way, is a great way to move through anxiety. And one thing that I love to do, because I'm a 5-year-old child, is to step on crunchy leaves. And there's not as many crunchy leaves anymore because we are now in January, but man, I saw one that it was kind of like folded over in like this perfect way where if you crunched it, it would just be so nice and crunchy, like nice brown crunchy leaf, right? And I didn't look too hard, I just kind of stepped on it. And then instead of crunching, it went squish. I just kind of directly stepped in poo of some kind and just like went into every little crevice of my like leather boots. I guess I haven't had to smell poo up close in a while. And I used like this old sponge to just like scrape and scrub, and now the leather is soaking wet, but it's fine because my boots don't smell like poo anymore. Anyway, I'm really excited to talk to you about anxiety. And I think I've said that twice now. So first I'm going to talk about the way that I approach and frame anxiety. So you'll kind of see on different channels, there's different methods of like, if you're having serious anxiety in the moment, like all of a sudden you're having an attack, something triggers, well, that's usually how anxiety comes on, is something triggers it, but something triggers a serious bout of in the moment, rapid heartbeat, just really, really compressed feeling in the chest and, tightness in your shoulders. Like there's a lot of really great resources on in the moment help for that. What I like to do is I like to go onto YouTube and type in affirmations for anxiety or meditation for anxiety, but meditations work slightly less well because affirmations feel more active, like I'm doing something, like I'm talking to myself, I'm not just being passive or attempting to be passive when internally there's so much activity. So yeah, I'll link you to some of the affirmations that I like to listen to when I'm feeling anxious that just like bring me down in the moment. What I want to talk about here is something that goes a little bit deeper. I'm someone who experiences anxiety pretty consistently, right? So every day, pretty much. And my tools help me to kind of move through that to its end, right? Like if you move through any emotion, you'll reach what's at the end of it, which is like something much more beautiful and useful. But I'm gonna talk to you about how I approach moving through it. So so when I feel anxiety, let's think of, when have I felt anxiety recently? It was just, I've actually been feeling it a lot when I wake up. And so oftentimes anxiety will come on and this might resonate with you, but, I don't know exactly what's going on or why I'm anxious. I just kind of am. So I'll wake up in the morning. That happened this morning, happened yesterday morning. I wake up and I just feel like this tightness but like a confused, just like not good feeling, but it doesn't feel like a clear feeling, like, oh my gosh, that thing that just happened was so sad and I just want to cry my eyes out. That's a very clear, like it moves through, you can feel it in your whole body. It's just very, like there's this beauty in it because it's so clear. You can just feel it in every fiber of your being, just that grief and sadness, But when I wake up with anxiety, for instance, it never sort of manifests that way. Anxiety is not a clear feeling for me, or like another clear feeling would be joy. If something just lights you up, like I was looking at a job the other day, and it's like a really freaking interesting job, and I just lit up at that job. And I was just like, oh my God. There's just like this excitement, and my heart was beating faster, and I was like, whoa. And it was a very clear feeling. But anxiety is not clear. For me, when I sit with that anxiety and I'm feeling out what's going on, the thoughts, when I'm able to just kind of get really still and pull them to the surface, or sometimes they don't like to be pulled, so just kind of letting them simmer, come up to the surface, like they turn into, oh my God, you have to do this, don't forget this, don't forget this. Those thoughts, like you need to do this, you need to do that, like when they come up for me, that's always really helpful, because then I'm able to see that my anxiety is pointing to the fact that I'm being led by my fear. Those things come from a place of fear. And so my anxiety is really that voice of the scared person who's trying to protect me. They are trying their best to help me not feel pain. That's what anxiety does for me. It tries really, really hard to protect me from any pain. And so when I become aware of that, what I do, and I would say it does require a bit of courage to kind of go through this process, but it requires courage to live with anxiety in the first place. Even if you aren't getting to the root of it, it requires courage to wake up every day and feel that, and attempt to navigate a way through it, even if you're trying ways that aren't working. So you're already using courage. So just hold that courage and keep using it, because what you want to use it for, or what I use it for, is to feel that fear. So the fear that's underneath those words. So I'm looking for a new job, and I'm looking for a new home. I want to move out of this one into a new one. So like the fear is just like, I'm scared that I'm going to be stuck, and that I'm going to get depressed, or I'm going to stagnate in this house, or in my job that I'm in. And just feeling that fear here, feeling it in my stomach, letting myself feel that fear, and being terrified because I'm doing something, what the fear tells me is I'm doing something really new that I've never done before. And even if I've moved before or gotten a job before, there's something that I'm trying that's really new. There's a way that I'm approaching it that's really new. The place that I'm in is totally new. And so just sitting with that fear and letting myself not know what the heck is going to happen. When I sit with that fear, what happens usually is that it goes straight into grief. Like it just turns straight into grief, because why else would you expect that what you care about and what you want isn't going to happen? Is if you've experienced that loss before of really wanting something and maybe even getting it and then losing it, or really wanting something and taking a chance and not getting it. And it's funny how our emotions and how our heart and how our body work, because things that can seem from the outside so insignificant can be so major for that part of us, that really, really tender part, which is where I'm trying to lead this into, is that anxiety, that feeling in like your chest and your shoulders of just like, usually when you peel away that layer and you get to the fear, and then you peel away that layer and you get to the grief, and you really sit with that. And grief is kind of, it's something that pulls you, it centers you, it pulls you down. It shows you, it's like a line pointing to exactly what broke your heart, that loss that you experienced, that you need to feel and just, kind of like wrap your legs up like this and just be with. In 2020, I lost like 5 different things in 1 year. Most of them were related to the pandemic. One wasn't. I quit my favorite job I'd ever had up till then in March 2020, the week before lockdown started. I moved out of house with the favorite roommates that I've ever had. I moved away from the first city that I ever loved, San Francisco. My heart broke. All those things happen, and you don't fully realize how much they've broken your heart or your sort of ability to just kind of want things and go after them, They break your spirit a little. And I lost all of those things and more, There's really bad wildfires in Northern California, and the smoke actually made it so that the entire sky was dark all day on September 9th, 2020. And it was like a dark, like burnt sienna color all day, and it was apocalyptic, and I felt so dark that day. Just feeling what happens when you allow yourself to just feel the grief of that and the pain of it and the heartbreak is and sometimes you just gotta sit there and cry, and sometimes you gotta like write about it, and sometimes you have to talk to someone about it, and sometimes you gotta just talk to yourself about it, listen to sad music, get into bed and get in the fetal position. But when you are able to feel that, like holding it here as you go throughout your day, the effect is that there's this like tenderness that comes with you as you go through your day. And it's this like tenderness of like, I'm moving through something that is really significant for me. And it's a clear feeling. So you're sort of turning anxiety into the clear thing that's underneath it. And what will happen naturally as you hold that grief, and it naturally kind of redirects you back toward what you want. Like it shows you how much you still want and care. And some version of it is findable, even if it's a person that you lost, some version of that thing is possible again, to love someone that deeply again, to have a relationship of that quality, to memorialize that person in a way to where you're focused on that love. Something is possible with the grief is like it's like this beautiful seed. And you start to kind of move forward from that really tender, really open place. But the feeling that you're doing it with, it goes from anxiety, which is a pushing feeling, like I have to do this, to like it's the inside of you that's pulling you along, or like is a wind at your back that's like carrying you into this thing that is scary, maybe because you felt loss, but so worthwhile. So thanks for listening. Feel free to comment if you have thoughts about what I've said. I'd love to hear from you, anything you're thinking. Thanks for watching.